ever been dating somebody and maybe it's early on and you feel like something is off? Maybe there's a red flag or a few too many red flags for how early it is. And maybe it seems like somebody at the surface level is giving you everything you could ever want or ever imagine and showing so much interest and giving so much validation, but something just doesn't feel quite right. Well, this is possible. It is possible that this is because you are experiencing love bombing from a narcissist. And in this video, I'm going to share with you a few weird texting habits that narcissists often have. And hopefully this video can help you either identify if in fact this person might be a narcissist, or also if somebody just has narcissistic texting patterns or behaviors that are unhealthy and that you need to set boundaries around and take a step back from. So there are really interesting dynamics with a narcissist. And on one side of it, one of the first things you'll know or notice is that in the dating stage of relationships, narcissists love bomb. Now, I've had many conversations with clients over the years who had long-term relationships with narcissists, spouses who were narcissists, or just partners who were narcissists over a short or even long period of time. And one of the most common things you'll see early on is that the narcissist loves to love bomb. They love to tell you everything you want to hear, really get to know you deeply, make you feel seen and heard and understood and deeply connected to. And usually the person on the other end, after every conversation I've literally had hundreds of conversations like this over the past decade, people will say to me, at first, it felt too good to be true. Or, at first I on one side, I really liked it, but the other side, it kind of felt overwhelming and too much. And I didn't feel quite right. Something felt off. I didn't really love it. And then over time, I kind of got hooked. Over time, it was like, okay, look, this person's giving you everything you need and want. And so I would just surrender to it. And these are the types of conversations I would have with people reflecting upon that very early stage of dating when they were first getting to know this person. And one of the big themes here that I think is so addictive about dating a narcissist is that narcissists, because they are sort of masters of understanding elements, not all of, but elements of the human experience, they tend to be able to see deeply into a person's insecurities and fears and pain points. And they also tend to give partners in romantic relationships in that early stage, that love bombing stage of dating, they tend to give individuals what they've always needed. Narcissists early on make people feel very seen. Think of going back to childhood, you wanted to be seen as a little kid, right? You wanted to feel like you existed and you mattered, and you would light up when there was presence from parents or caregivers. These were things that children strive for, seek for. So these kind of deeply unmet childhood needs, because life is chaotic and busy, and parents get busy and distracted or have multiple kids and work. A lot of these things that were unmet, narcissists sort of feed into. And I don't think it's so premeditated, but I absolutely think that it's a strategy at a subconscious level to meet their need for control and power long term. And as I go through some of these big texting habits and how these sort of all tie together, how this all relates, I do want to keep in mind, and I say this, I know people are going to give me a hard time in the comments for this, but I do want to keep in mind that the narcissist is still just a traumatized person with their own deep, deep wounds around what it means to trust, what it means to love, what it means to be vulnerable, what it means to open themselves up and share themselves without relationships being a power struggle. There's a lot of woundedness from this person. Now, with that being said, a narcissist is not a healthy person to be in a relationship with. If you are in a relationship with a narcissist, I suggest you do all of the work you can on your subconscious wounds and fears of leaving, because it's really important to be able to leave and start a fresh chapter for yourself. And again, I say this with respect to people who have a lot of trauma in their background as well. I know it's not, it's sometimes easier said than done, but I'm not here to demonize the narcissist in this video. I'm here to help you recognize and suggest very strongly that you exit a relationship with a lot of these patterns and behaviors. And if you're afraid, do the work within you to set yourself free, right? What are you afraid of if you leave? Are you afraid of being alone? Are you afraid of that you won't find somebody to love you like this again? Are you afraid that somebody won't look out for you so much? So like, what are those things that are keeping you there? And you want to do some reprogramming of those beliefs. I actually have a whole course about this on narcissistic relationships and how to leave and all these different things. You can check it out for free for 7 days if you're in this dynamic or struggling. Anyway, so the big texting habits. Texting habit number 1 is in the early stages. Narcissists will text all the time. And I really think that what they're trying to do at a subconscious level, like I don't think the narcissist consciously thinks this through, but at a subconscious level, they're trying to always be top of mind for you. And they're trying to sort of foster an addiction or a dependency on them. And so if they can text all the time, know where you are, know what you're up to, know what's going on, stay in touch, keep themselves top of mind for you, they're fostering this kind of like dependency, and they're almost like wiggling their way into your own subconscious mind. And this tends to really start off like that way. Texting habit number 2 is to then begin the period once they see that you're texting them back a lot, then begin the period of intermittent reinforcement. And there's a lot of research on intermittent reinforcement. I've talked about it in other places on this channel. I'm not going to go all into it right now, but essentially there is something profoundly addictive about intermittent reinforcement. It is what gamblers get addicted to. And it can be a very addictive dynamic in relationships where I give you all of what you need, 6 out of 10 times, and I pour into your needs 6 out of 10 times. And then I stop for a while. And then I come back and I pour into your needs 10 out of 10 times. And then I stop 0 out of 10 for the next 2 weeks. And that like all or nothing, strong pouring into your needs and then withdrawing, instead of the subconscious mind having room or space to learn strategies to meet its own needs. What happens is the subconscious mind's always trying to get its needs met in the fastest way possible. So it tends to stay focused and fixated on the most recent person or situation or context that filled up its needs to the brim. So essentially it can really foster an addictive pattern in relationships where if somebody's really meeting another person's needs, the subconscious mind is like, okay, this is a great source of my needs being met. And then when that person pulls away, rather than being like, oh, I have to come up with new strategies, the subconscious will fixate on that person. So you'll see like texting all the time, getting, you to text back all the time, that being like the new normal. And then, beginning the intermittent reinforcement where it suddenly becomes really hit and miss, and it causes confusion and fixation from the other person. Number 3 is to sometimes make you feel ignored. So I know that sounds like intermittent reinforcement, but sometimes it's like to ignore your questions, to ignore your comments, to ignore vulnerability over text or something important that you're trying to bring up. And it's not this like all or nothing dynamic, but like sometimes the narcissist will talk to or speak to one question you have, but ignore the other, or like totally leave things out altogether. And part of this, I believe, through different conversations I've had with people over the years, and a lot of like case study type situations, is that this is an element that is fairly conscious for the narcissist because it's creating this sense of control, right? It's like, if I can control the conversation, if I can leave you waiting and wondering, I'm manipulating the power dynamic to come out on top. And if you are constantly, or if you reach out and do something vulnerable or share something vulnerable, and I don't really respond, I'm kind of taking your power away. And because a narcissist at their core is in this broken space and really looking for power wherever they can get it, and narcissistic supply wherever they can get it, like attention, connection, things that feed their ego, specifically in the significance department, not connection department, sorry. Because they're doing that at all times and needing that, feeling like they have control over you or feeling like they have the upper hand in the power dynamic, feeds the ego, right? It feeds that sense of, okay, like this is a form of narcissistic supply. So you may see different situations like that. Number 4, going right back hand in hand to this dynamic, is we may see narcissists do something to elicit an emotional response. So we may see a narcissist reach out with a very charged text message, maybe an accusation, maybe, oh my gosh, did you hear what happened? Like really trying to like stir the pot, like elicit an emotional response, and then not respond back. So really like leave you hanging. Or, hey, I can't believe what you did last night. And you're like, oh my gosh, what did I do last night? Like, I didn't do anything wrong. Like searching your brain, racking your brain for all the things you think that could be taken the wrong way that you did or might not have done, or where this rumor is coming from. And then you're just left hanging. And again, this is the power dynamic for the narcissist. This is, oh, I know that I'm getting a response. And if you double text, if you text back, if you're worried, if you call and they ignore, don't pick up the call, it's giving them this reinforcement. Because you can imagine, like, basically the narcissist, even though it seems like because of their arrogant attitude, they think they're so significant and so special, really it's like there's a hole in their bucket, right? It's like they are not able to have a deep inner sense of significance coming from their own internal meaning or internal morals and values and personal perspective and sense of direction and self-reinforcement, self-validation. All of that's missing. So it's like that supply, that attention, that approval, that power, that control. It's like they can get a hit of it, like, oh, I got this. But then it's like it immediately falls out the end of the bucket and they have to keep seeking and seeking and seeking for more. It's like an addiction. And so they tend to do these things, right, to elicit a response because it feeds into their bucket and then flows right back out. And then they have to go on to do that from somebody else or something else or a different situation, or create more power dynamics in their lives, or show to themselves that they have this sense of control over others. And it's not real control, right? It's like real control comes from learning to control ourselves, right? It's like learning to have control over our own state and emotions and thinking and behaviors and how we communicate. But the narcissist usually has had a lot of significant trauma and then not had the opportunity to move through some of these things. So we'll see that as a big one. And last but not least, we may see these random derogatory remarks. And those derogatory remarks may be things that are actually cutting deep, or these like, haha, like just this like little comment that feels like a jab, but leaves you confused to like, is this actually a jab? Were they trying to put me down? And as time goes on, obviously in the narcissistic dynamic, those remarks become more charged, more vindictive, more hurtful, more angry, more overt the vast majority of the time, unless we're dealing with like more covert narcissism. But we'll tend to see these things escalate. But generally in the early stages, these are some of the things that are pointing you in that direction. Now, as I mentioned, I have a course that's all about overcoming narcissistic abuse and being able to exit relationships that are not working for you. All the steps you need to do, all the subconscious things to work on, the needs, the limiting beliefs, the action steps and strategies to be able to set boundaries. And again, you can check it out for free for 7 days. And if you think this is you, or you feel like you're stuck in a relationship like this, or if you feel like you want to heal from a relationship like this, you'll be able to get through that course in 7 days. It's about an hour and 45 minutes long. There's slides, there's notes you can take, there's steps to take. It's all mapped out there for you. And it will really help you have exactly what you need to heal and redirect your life so that you can feel whole again, because, it can really take some time to recover from some of these things. And that course also covers complex grief and some of the things that will show up, and how to move through complex grief at a subconscious level, which is like where that real change and transformation happens. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this is helpful for you. If you are seeing these things, be aware, set your boundaries, leave relationships that are not serving you and that are not, empowering to you, because healthy relationships are about both parties bringing each other up. There will be imperfections, there will be challenging moments, but both parties supporting each other and truly having one another's best interests at heart. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you're enjoying this channel, please subscribe. If you have patterns you're seeing in your relationship, feel free to share them below, different questions, concerns, and I will definitely go back through this video specifically and try to grab out content ideas for videos for anybody who's needing support. So anyways, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Please subscribe to this channel if you're enjoying the content here, and I will see you in the next video.